Alright, so I just want to do a quick update with the Battleborn batteries. Now this entire trip in Colorado I haven't had to use them because we have power, but as I've talked about before, we know that the converter only basically floats the batteries around 13.2 volts because it's designed for lead acid batteries. And so I was on the fence about, should I get a lithium charger? So keep in mind with the lithium batteries, from what I've read, that they need to get up to about 14.4 volts for the cells to do their equalization process. If you don't get to that, I don't think they're going to do it, based on what I've read on Battleborn's site. Now, I have the Go Power charge controller from the solar panel that has the Bluetooth. That charge controller does support lithium batteries. So what I ended up doing, because I wanted to see if I could make sure to get these batteries up to the 14 some volts so that they could equalize, I realized that when I'm not using the batteries, I really need to disconnect them. Because as long as you have the batteries on and you're charging from shoreline, they're only going to get to about 13.2 to 13.8 volts at best, even with the solar pumping power into them. All your DC appliances will draw from your battery. Your converter doesn't really power them unless you've disconnected the batteries. Then your converter will power all the power for your DC appliances, like lights and such. But if you have your batteries connected into the circuit, then once it gets to the 13.2 volts, your converter really stops doing stuff and you're pulling all your power from solar and your batteries, even though you're connected to shoreline. So in order to get these batteries to the 14.4 volts so that they will have their equalization process. So as long as you have a lithium solar charge controller, just disconnect your batteries using the battery disconnect. And as you can see right now, we're at currently 14.5 volts because the battery monitor always takes a draw. There's no way around that. As long as you have the battery monitor in the system, you're going to lose power. But the solar has brought this thing up, and we are now at 14 volts. But if you look, of course, nothing's coming in. We've got 1 amp hour drain so far. We're basically breaking even. There's a little bit of power coming from solar, but this battery monitor does take that power. But let's look at the history. So as you can see today, about 2 hours ago, we did top it off at 14.41 volts. So it was able to get to the 14.41 volts. It is basically wintertime here. We do have a lot of sun. There hasn't been overcast, but it has been shorter days. But we have nothing blocking the sun. As you can see, it's shining right there on the roof. This tells me that I really don't need to worry about getting a lithium charger. I just need to make sure that they are disconnected from the circuit when I'm not using them. And the solar, with the solar charge controller that's lithium ready, will top them off. Even though you're only getting very little wattage each day from the solar panel, it will keep them topped off. It'll make sure you get to 14.4 volts. And so the cell equalization should take place. So I am not going to invest any money into an AC to DC charger for the lithium batteries. I'm good with what I got because the solar charge controller will at least take care of that. So the only thing I really want to add at this point is a DC to DC lithium charger, so that when I can't use a generator, because say you're in a park or somewhere that doesn't allow it, or say we are pulling the camper behind us and we want to get that battery topped off as much as it can be topped off, then it would be nice to just plug the car in, turn it on, and we can charge those batteries. It's a little chilly out here. I should have a coat, but I don't. I think I'll probably end up going with something like a 40 amp DC to DC charger that will take care of that when we are driving down the road, or again, as I said, if we're in a place where we can't use a generator, we can just back the car up, plug it in, and charge the battery. If we get a 40 or 50 amp charger, then we could easily, within an hour of running the car a day, every day, even if there's no solar, have the batteries top back off to get us through the next day, based on what we've observed with our battery usage of about 20% or so a day when we're not trying to conserve power. But there you go. That's my update with the Battle-Born batteries and charging and what you might want to look into doing. When I go ahead and get the DC to DC charger, I will make a video about that. But I think at this point, I don't have anything further to add about the Battle-Born batteries in this type of configuration. I'm very happy with them. Again, we haven't used them this month, except for the evening we spent the night when we were driving to Colorado. And we will, of course, be using them on our way home. But that is the current update with the Battle-Born batteries in the GeoPro.